Hi, welcome to the Plug-in Duo. My name is Julio and behind the camera is Christine. So here we're gonna have a quick overview what you can expect on a older Model Y 2021, and this is a 2023. This is on hardware 3 and on hardware 4. First thing that we could tell is on the headlights. If you notice on here, these are reflector headlights. So the LEDs actually reflect out and you have your high and low beams. When you put your high beams or when you have just your normal driving lights on this one, you still get the nice bright LED lights, but these ones are not as sharp. I mean, they light up the way, but they don't have the clean cutoff like what you would expect for a car with LED headlights. But again, these are all reflector LEDs. Now for the 2023, if you notice, the difference over here is we have our reflectors on here, but on the corner, you have a projector. That right there is the active matrix headlights. So these can actually, in Europe, they can actually dim individual LED lights. These can actually create shadow spots so you are not blinding oncoming drivers, or perhaps if you have a car in front of you, so you can create shadow spots while maintaining your high beams on. Aside from that, on the headlights, for aesthetic wise, another way to tell and a little bit of a difference is, if you notice right here, the housing is actually black plastic versus right here, this part, it's chrome, but it almost has that smoke chrome look on here for the active matrix headlights. This is a brighter chrome, and so as this. Both of them, aside from that, they have their frunks, they have their fog lights and this and that. But one thing definitely to notice is, as you can tell right here, the bumper, there's no circles or sensors, and that's because this has Tesla vision. So the difference is that a lot of the autopilot and a lot of the computing and sensing as to how far things are done with the cameras, which again, this is hardware 4 and it has higher quality. This is hardware 3. So, you know, you have your cameras all around versus this one. If you guys notice, you have these circles or dots, if you will. These are ultrasonic sensors. So as you get close, say for instance, if you're driving or you're backing up, you get close, it gives you visualization of just how far you are getting. It kind of gives you like a red band to just tell you whether you are getting close or not. You still have the cameras, but definitely the cameras are not as powerful as they are on the hardware 4 car. So that's one of the other differences that you can look forward to. Another difference that from the 2021 to the 2023, Tesla makes changes all the time. It may seem small, but a change that makes a very big difference is right here on the trunk. So as you can see from here, this is a little bit raised and it kind of slopes downward. Well, the reason for that is, so this cover actually has a triangle here. And by the way, excuse this part. You know, maybe that's something that you might want to look for when buying a used one, but this is plastic. But anyway, the point is that this stays that way. But when you are driving, this falls. This falls all the time and does not stay. Okay. So again, if you notice, see this triangle here? This is actually what makes it stay. But if you notice on here, on the vehicle itself, this is flat over here. As far as the sub trunk, you know, you have your same space, you have your pocket here on each side. But again, this is different because when you put this here, it will not stay. You could reverse. Well, actually, yes, you can reverse it, but it's a little bit odd. If you notice, again, this lip kind of makes it odd, and you know, forget about putting this up or down because this constantly falls. Tesla's constantly making changes to their cars for the better. But the thing is that, you know, they don't wait like a regular manufacturer where they, you know, next year they're gonna introduce new things. It's just they introduce them and all of a sudden it's like, oh wow, there's a new something. So again, this is from the 2021. These are little things that you can expect between a brand new Model Y and a used Model Y. But again, the savings with a used Model Y, tremendous. Let's get to the 2023 and show the difference. So this is the 2023. So you guys will see the difference. I mean, aside from this being the 5-seater and this having the the parcel shelf. This one, I will take this out so you can see what it is that I'm talking about. So as you can notice, this is actually a little bit raised, and see this indentation that I'm talking about? This is what keeps the sub trunk from going down. So that's what enables drivers now to do this and have it stay there even when you are driving, and it divides the space from behind the seats to here, and again, it won't fall. So again, it's little changes like that that you can look for, that you can actually differentiate between an earlier model versus a later model. And as I said, it's little things like that that actually make a difference. Now, is it worth the extra money that you would pay for a brand new one? That's for you to decide. Another thing that is not big, but one thing I've noticed between my Model Y and because this one is actually a loaner, and even the beep sounds a little bit different. Again, not a big deal, but you know, if you see, okay, versus this one, barely audible beep. Here in the back, as you can notice, you have those circles again, which are again your ultrasonic sensors. The back itself is exactly the same. You do have your reflectors, you have your cutout if in case you were to put the optional hitch. So that, you know, that is pretty much the same. The taillights are the same as well. You have your amber turn signals, your reverse, everything else is pretty much the same in that aspect. Another difference that you could tell between the 2021 and later models is right here. If you notice, this is actually hard plastic. Hard plastic all in here. Down here, there's a rubber mat to prevent things from just, you know, moving around and hitting. But again, this is plastic right here. And also over here, if you notice, this style is a little bit more squarish, and it's still, you know, soft molded material, but it definitely has a different look. You still have your suede, and right here, plastic. And aside from that, you know, it's pretty much the same. Versus this 2023, if you notice, this is actually carpet. So while it may not seem big, but definitely when you have items in here, you're gonna have less noise with some carpeting than with hard plastic. Then on here, if you can notice, the door is actually different. Right here, it kind of has a scalloped kind of look. Wood insert, your plastic, you know, they want to make it look like metal, but it's definitely different. And this one, if you notice, just the shape overall is different. So that's another thing to notice. From here, from the inside, if you notice, again, it's a little bit more cohesive, the design language. Again, you have your wood paneling, and it goes here to the door. The design is more thoughtful. And by the way, this doesn't just apply to the front passengers. It also applies to your rear doors as well. In here, the only other difference that I can tell is the interior camera in here on hardware 4 is actually a little bit bigger. The lens itself is bigger, but at night, if you have a camera, you actually have 2 infrared lights on here, which are so they can detect if you're paying attention. And that is something that you won't get on an older model, even if it has hardware 3. Another big thing that even hardware 3 cars have that the older 2021 doesn't have, which is very, very big. At first, you don't think so, but you come to rely on is right here. I'll show you on the screen. If you notice, each parking spot has the lines. So even though Teslas don't have 360 view or bird's eye view, if you will, you could actually have visualizations of where the lines are at a parking spot. So while you can always look at the cameras and you could see exactly where the lines are at, you get that extra visualization. And I wouldn't think so, but it is so handy when trying to park in the middle of a lane, and you come to rely on it. And again, see how fluid and how fast the transition is from going from forward to back, and the camera's coming up. Now let's see how it looks on the 2021 with hardware 3. As I was saying, on the inside, the design, it's a little bit earlier build, so you can tell you still have the wood paneling. Everything pretty much looks the same, but if you notice here on the doors, again, it just has that more basic look. Soft material, you know, it's not hard, but definitely you don't get the cohesive design as you do on the later models. Aside from that, if you notice, the cabin camera, it's a lot smaller. So say for instance, if you take a look at your car in the middle of the night and you have it in your garage and you would like to check the interior, on here, you actually cannot see anything because there's no lighting in here. Versus if you check on a later build, again, this plastic is actually see-through on later builds, and you have 2 infrared lights over here. But you know, without going on, let me show you the visualization of what I'm talking about as far as the cameras. So let's put it on reverse. See, it just takes that a little bit longer. I don't know if you can notice on camera, but there's a slight stutter. See how it says 31 inches and see how there's this line? Those are the ultrasonic sensors at work telling you, hey, there's something close, even on the freeway. When you're driving, say, for instance, in the carpool, and you're getting kind of close to the center divider, it alerts you. Okay, so we're gonna try backing up over here by the trash can and let's see if the ultrasonic sensors catch it. Oh, see, there you go, see? See, it went from a white line to a little bit orangey, and see, and then it starts turning red. It starts beeping at you. So same thing when we go forward. Again, it sees the parking spots, but doesn't notice the, and see, it's noticing the curb here as well. So that's the other difference. Again, let me see if I can show you. Maybe you could see the stutter or not. So you still get a more basic visualization. You have your cameras. If you notice, it takes a slight second for them to pull up. The cameras themselves, definitely you could tell that the colors are similar. On this one, again, hardware 3 on a older build is definitely more pixelated on this one versus the hardware 4. By the way, this one, again, being an early build, this actually for the processor, instead of having the NVIDIA processor, this car actually has the Intel Atom processor. And so if you notice on here, you still have your heat pump for as far as cooling and heating, but this also has for the low voltage battery, has a lead acid battery. So that's the kind of same battery that you have on a regular car. Again, Intel Atom, this is something that definitely does make a big difference. Say for instance, your display is acting up and you want to restart it. Of course, we all know, you know, there's different ways. I was told to step on the brake and press the 2 buttons. Okay, so let's time how long it takes to reboot the screen. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we're waiting for the Tesla logo to come up. I lost count, but honestly, this is real time and we are still waiting for the screen to boot up. So imagine if you are on the go, you could still drive, but you no longer have your speedometer, you don't have your music, you don't have GPS, and especially you don't have your dash cam available. And even to this moment, it still has not booted up. And so we are still waiting for that to finalize booting up. Okay, there it goes. Again, this is some full screen visualization. If you notice, also the transitions, see how there's that stutter? Again, it's not completely horrible, but definitely when you go from one build to another, it is absolutely noticeable. So now we are here on our 2024. So we're on the home screen. So let's see the map. I don't know if you guys can notice, but definitely the graphics are a whole lot smoother. a lot more snappy. And this one, for the full driving computer, we have the AMD Ryzen processor. As far as the low voltage battery, we have a lithium ion battery. What I've heard that it has less problems and you don't need to change it out as often. So, you know, whatever has the possibility of being more maintenance free, the better. Let's say that we need to restart the screen because it's acting wonky or something's going on. Again, stepping on the brake, press the 2 buttons and let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So right now we're just, again, waiting for the screen to basically finish doing what it needs to do. Again, we're getting the Tesla logo, so it's doing its thing. Okay, the screen booted up and we already have our screen already usable. So definitely that is something that you could tell that the AMD processor is definitely more snappy. One more thing that I do want to notate, I don't know if there's a difference between the heat pump between earlier builds and this one, because for whatever reason, the heat pump on the 2021 sounds a lot different. Still performs. For whatever reason, this one heats and cools a lot faster. So for instance, I will put the microphone close by my feet so you guys can hear how it sounds. Okay, so that's starting up. Now let's shut it down. Pretty quiet. Doesn't make a lot of noise, doesn't make a lot of fuss, and it definitely cools and heats faster. So is it a different version, an upgraded version? I would think so. I would think so. It just sounds more refined and definitely doesn't make a lot of strange noises. And I mean, I know with an electric car, you're going to hear a lot of things that you didn't used to hear perhaps in your gas-powered car. But definitely there's a difference. Now let's still check out on the 2021 and see how the HVAC sounds on that car. It makes some sort of like gurgling sounds. It's a little strange. But it still works. It's just something to notate. So here we go. So I don't know how well the microphone caught that. It is something that you will notice in person, but now let's shut it down and let's see if you could hear those gurgling sounds that I am talking about. Well, of course, when we're recording, it doesn't do it, but it almost sounds, just imagine if you have a wall unit and after you shut it off and you hear that almost like the expansion of gas, kind of like that, or you hear kind of like the surging of some liquid. That's exactly what it sounds like. But again, not a big deal. Okay, so another thing that I have noticed also is when you lock the doors, the horns are a little bit different. Again, not a big deal, but since we're notating differences, so see, it's a little bit different. Let's unlock it again. Unlock. Do you guys think it's worth saving some money to go for the 2021 or perhaps to go for a newer Model Y? You know, there's a lot of little things to nitpick. There are definitely deals to be had with a used Model Y. For instance, I would just suggest be careful with when choosing a Model Y. Like for instance, this loaner over here, you could tell the previous person ran over something. So be sure to look for panel gaps. Also, this certain model, the fog light doesn't work, and I've seen some other cars on the freeway that the fog lights don't work. So that's definitely something to look out for. So on this one specifically, the fog lights don't work. Another thing that you might want to see is, unfortunately with Teslas, though, the tire comes out to the very, very edge. So this tire itself is not too bad, but if you notice on this one, yeah, unfortunately, it has seen its fair share of carnage. So yeah, that's pretty bad. So this is gonna end the video. I'm Julio, and we are the Plug-in Duo. My wife, Christine, is behind the camera. Thanks for watching. We really appreciate you guys sticking around with us. And if this helped you decide, whether you should go for used Model Y and save all that money, or go for a newer one and, have, that brand new warranty and know that you are the first person to have owned it, let us know in the comment. What would you guys choose? Anyway, this is gonna do it. Thanks for watching. We are the Plug-in Duo, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Bye now.